Jim, did you see that Tony Khan recently made some comments? Several listeners have sent this in. Tony Khan made some comments about Vince McMahon and scripts. Did you see this?
I have not heard this nor seen this, so this will be fresh in my mind.
During an interview with Forbes, Tony Khan had this to say: "To be honest, when I hear about someone going in and they have a TV show on Monday that they rip up, my first thought is, what were you doing all weekend? Because I work my ass off on the weekends.
Oh my God.
I have come in with a plan for Wednesday and Friday night, and I want to make sure Dynamite's great and Rampage. I don't do everything myself, but I do make the final decisions on everything. I put the format together. I put an outline of what the show is going to be for Dynamite and Rampage. I write it by hand. I don't understand why you're going to come in and rip up a show that you have a pretty good idea of what it is. And you should have approved it, where Monday, we know what we're doing." And there's Tony Khan's quote. Any thoughts on this?
Oh, my God. Well,
I tried to match the frenetic nature that I figured he may have had.
Yeah. Well, you didn't, because he would have been bouncing off the wall and hopping up and down and patting his head and rubbing his stomach at the same time while he was saying all that. But it's always the porridge is too hot or too cold. It's never just right. They do work on weekends. I can tell you, whether it's Vince's writing team of me and Bruce or 25 comedy writers, they write all the time. They never stop writing, and Vince never stops changing his mind and tearing his shit up until it's actually out there live and on the tape. Whereas on the other hand, as we mentioned earlier in the program, Tony Khan knew who he was going to put the world title on 2 years before he did it, and even though it was a horrible idea when it came to pass, he did it anyway. He is the one who needs to tear some of these formats up and start over, and he won't do it. So over here, you got something that doesn't stop changing until it's actually done, and it's still not too good. And you got shit over on the other side that desperately needed changed, but it wasn't, so it ain't that good either. But again, these people have told Tony that he knows what he's doing because they want their jobs and they want him to be happy and be their friend and they want their checks. Did I mention their money? And he believes them. And there you go. And now he thinks he's got it handled. And this is just nothing. He's got it knocked out. Either situation, either we got a rotten show on Monday and nobody stops it before we do it on Wednesday and says, hey, let's do this right. Or we've got 40 shows all weekend and we do the last one that anybody came up with. Neither one is necessarily the best thing to do. I always had my shit in mind and I had my paperwork done in time to disseminate it at the tapings, but I neither changed it 25 times just to change it because I usually didn't have the staff to carry that off, or I didn't fucking write it a week ahead of time and shit changed, or I had other ideas and I just, fuck it, I'll just do that. No reason to change anything.
Considering the way you did things, do you admire the fact that he's writing out the show by hand?
Well, who doesn't? I mean, I don't think if I don't care whether he's saying I'm writing it out by hand or I'm typing it by hand, in whatever way that he's putting it on paper, the person who's responsible for it needs to put it on paper. Problem is, it needs to make sense once it's down there. And there needs to be some plan going forward. Like I said, he put a title on somebody after a 2-year bill that went in the toilet, but he brings other people in, talent that you could use on an ongoing basis, people that would freshen up his roster, and he brings in, beats them the first 3 or 4 times in to where they're meaningless, and then he signs them up. So it's all over the fucking place. And neither one of those approaches are optimal.